Good evening, and thanks for joining us on another episode of the program Transforming Agriculture in Nigeria, a program that showcases the richness of Nigeria's agricultural sector and the efforts of government and other relevant stakeholders to develop the sector. I'm your host, Gabriel Ojile. As part of activities marking the 2022 edition of the World Food Day celebration in Nigeria, there was an exhibition of the agricultural potentials and products by states, companies, and research institutions across the country. This will be the focus of the program, in addition to news from and around the agricultural sector in Nigeria. Do stay tuned for details. I'll be back shortly.
That will provide the necessary policy direction that will truly position agriculture as the mainstay of our economy.
The federal government is removing obstacles and offering opportunities for self-employment, wealth creation, and food security in the Nigeria's agricultural sector.
Think farming, think agriculture.
Watch Transforming Agriculture in Nigeria, showing on NTA Fridays at 8:30 p.m.
We kickstart the program with news from the diary of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. In the news, Minister gives an update on flood. These and other stories coming up shortly. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Muhammad Mahmood Abubakar, has assured Nigerians that there will be no shortage of food in 2023 despite the destructive effect of the flood and other effects of climate change in Nigeria. The minister gave this assurance at a press briefing in his conference room in Abuja.
I can tell you that no need to panic. The ministry, the government, through various interventions, apart from the provision in the ministry's budget, is doing everything possible with our development partners to make sure the flood does not cause food shortage in this country. We have grains in the silos. The CBN also, which also produces a lot of food, have grains in the silos. But we are not just relying on the grains in the silos, rather to make sure production does not stop and will embark on intensive dry season farming. So will be the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Abubakar added that the ministry has carried out an assessment of the effect of the flood on the agricultural sector and has taken steps to forestall its devastating effects on food supply. The minister stated that some of the measures put in place are both short and medium term.
1. Conduct of an immediate need assessment of affected communities and farmlands in all the affected states based on available remote sensing report of the 2022 flooding. Distribution of assorted food commodities from the federal government strategic grain reserve to the vulnerable and flood victims through the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, which is currently ongoing. Distribution of early maturing seeds, that is, of wheat, rice, maize, sorghum, cassava cuttings, fertilizers, agrochemicals, and agro-equipment to affected crop farmers across the country.
Responding to questions from journalists during the briefing, the Director, Strategic Grain Reserve, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Sule Abutu Haruna, stated that the ministry has stored lots of grains in its silos in order to intervene when the need arises.
I want to assure Nigerians that yes, our silos are functioning. Out of the federal government retained silo complexes, we have assorted food commodities in the silos to be able to avert any disaster that might befall Nigerians, and we pray that such disasters will not even come our way. Thank you.
Also responding to questions from journalists, the Managing Director, Bank of Agriculture, Alwan Ali Hassan, also advised farmers to always ensure their farms to get compensation when such disasters occur. Ali Hassan added that farmers who were affected by the flood will be given some months of grace before they repay their loans. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development recently received members of the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development. The committee was on an oversight visit to assess the level of budget implementation, impact, as well as receive a justification for an improvement on the budget allocation for the ministry in the next fiscal year. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, while responding to the inquiries by the committee, disclosed that the ministry has created over 3 million jobs across the agricultural value chain through the different projects undertaken by the ministry. The minister added that more jobs will be created as several agro projects of the ministry will soon be commissioned by President Muhammadu Buhari.
In about a couple of weeks, by the grace of God, Mr. President will be launching the SAPZ, that is the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones. This is a program I'm really excited about because it achieved two major things. One, food security. Two, industrialization. And we have already gotten commitment from countries across the world that are willing to invest. We are establishing industrial cities across the country, but starting with 8 states. In each industrial city or SAPZ, you will find industries that will be established. You will find hospitals, you will find schools, accommodation. So it's a city of agric and industry. Around the city, you'll have cluster of farmers that will be producing various crops that will be coming directly into the processing zone. So it's a one-stop shopping. You can directly process and export out of those, thereby reducing the gridlock at ports and other places. You can import into the zones. There will be customs, there will be immigration. It's just one-stop shopping.
The chairman, Senate Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development, Senator Yahya Abdullahi, commended the effort of the ministry and its agencies for showing credibility and advised the minister to have a thorough assessment of the impact of insecurity and flood on food security so that the nation will be prepared ahead of the possible negative effect on the food chain.
The security and the flood, to what extent, are these going to impact on the food security of the nation? And this one, I think you have to come out to be very honest, about the situation. Don't cover anything. Come out and state to the government. This, from what had happened in terms of security, in terms of flooding, this is the amount of food deficit that this country is going through in various crops, livestock, and all the other sectors. So that you prepare the mind of the government and the people about the expectations. If we see that it could get us into the problem, the government will have to do a supplementary budget, before it goes out of office, to prepare the government for whatever eventualities and whatever decisions that need to be taken.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development has flagged off the vaccination campaign against animal transboundary diseases for the safety of the animals and human beings. The exercise will prevent the spread of animal diseases such as CBPP, foot and mouth disease, African soil fever, among other diseases that affect animals and can also pass from animals to humans. Speaking during the flag-off ceremony of the campaign in the North Central Zone in Abuja, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, said the importance of the livestock subsector cannot be overemphasized, and the ministry over the years has remained committed to animal vaccinations.
As we flag off this campaign for the North Central Zone today, I am delighted to inform you all that currently the ministry has procured 4,148,000 doses of CBPP vaccines, 15,479,500 doses of PPR vaccines, 2 million doses of FMD vaccines, and 3 million doses of the Newcastle disease vaccines for allocation to the 36 states of the Federation and FCT based on request.
Also speaking during the flag-off, the Minister of State, Federal Capital Territory, Honorable Ramatu Tijani Aliyu, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary FCT, Olushade Adeshola, appreciated the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development as well as development partners for helping in the containment of animal diseases in the FCT.
I would like to, at this point, appreciate the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development once again, the Nigeria Veterinary Medical Association, Nigeria Veterinary Research Institute (VOM), and others in their relentless fight over the years against the outbreak and spread of animal diseases.
Similarly, the representative of Miati Allah Cattle Breeders Association also commended the efforts of the ministry and pledged the support of their members in the vaccination exercise.
We really appreciate it, and we are very, very grateful, and we sincerely commend you. We thank you most sincerely, most especially our dear President, General Muhammadu Buhari, who has made his administrations very, very liable to the economy, to the agricultural development in this country. We sincerely appreciate you.
Nigeria is richly blessed with arable land and favorable weather, which when maximized can make Nigeria self-sufficient in food production while contributing to the global quest for food security. Our next segment will be a justification of this assertion as we showcase the exhibition of the many potentials of Nigeria's agricultural sector as displayed during the World Food Day. Sit back and watch.
The 2022 World Food Day was an opportunity for state and local governments, private firms, agro-processing companies, research institutes, and other stakeholders to showcase their potentials in the agricultural space and to get the patronage of others in terms of investment and support. The agricultural exhibition, which took place at Kilometer 28, Kefi Road in Karo local government area of Nasarawa State, was graced by students, farmers, and development partners. One of the major exhibition stands was mounted by Kano State, with each of its 44 local government areas showcasing their agriculturally rich potentials. One of the local government stands was that of Gabasa local government area. This local government has comparative advantage in farm crops such as millet, sorghum, wheat, cowpeas, groundnut, tiger nut, among others.
The importance of this agriculture is to come here and see from different states that what they are producing, and many new technical things that are concerning agriculture that we are learning. What we learn here, we go back to our farmers and then teach them how to do all this in order to improve our productivity there, in order to enable us to improve our economic well-being.
So there are so many things that we even see in other states that we do not have, and other states see so many things in agriculture that we don't have, and they have it.
Apart from production and value addition, the Kano State Ministry of Agriculture has also developed storage technology to take care of post-harvest loss of crops such as onions.
This is a new technology that we have fabricated from Kano State Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources, Agribusiness Department. We fabricated with wooden materials, with like rato fan and a drum with some pipes, and it is solar energy produced. We use solar panels to produce light for this equipment so that you can keep your onion for a long period of time. Although you can see it is somehow a small equipment, but it can contain up to 5 bags of onion.
Kano State also exhibited domestic animals as well as wildlife. This is the Kano State Mobile Zoo on display at the 2022 World Food Day celebration. Benue State is another state that showcases agricultural produce at the 2022 World Food Day. The state has comparative advantage in the production of yam, cassava, oranges, sweet potatoes, rice, and other tree crops. The DEX officer, Farmers and Agric Association, speaks about the cassava varieties that abounds in the state.
We have all the seeds we used, apart from the yam. For yam, we just treat our seeds properly with good organic material so that they do very well even from the beginning. But for the cassava is the variety called TME 419. TME 419. It has about 35% starch, and the Benue soil is very good for it. And we also have a collaboration between Benue State Government, the University of Agriculture, and IITA that has trained a lot of our farmers in the production of this particular variety. So the one we brought here on this ground is the biggest cassava from one stalk. And it is used for gari, it is used to make it for chips, it is used for production of starch.
Teachers, pupils, and students tour the exhibitions and bear their minds on the importance of the exhibition.
Our motive of being here is to show them and let them know more about wild animal and domestic animal, and also their lifespan and the years they live before they die.
I learn about domestic animal and wild animals. I know the differences of domestic animal and wild animals.
The program is Transforming Agriculture in Nigeria, bringing you highlights of the exhibition at the 2022 World Food Day celebration in Nigeria. Aside farm produce and products on display, a research institute in Nigeria also exhibited technologies developed for crop production and value addition. Keep watching.
The National Root Crops Research Institute, Umudike, has the mandate to research into the genetic improvement of tuber crops such as yam, cassava, sweet potatoes, and their value addition. Over the years, the institute has developed different varieties of tuber crops that are high yielding and of great economic importance to farmers and the nation at large.
The institute has actually placed Nigeria in the world map. Today, Nigeria is the world's largest producer of cassava, producing over 51 million metric tons per annum. Nigeria is also the world's largest producer of yam. In the institute, we have developed more than 50 varieties of cassava and more than 20 varieties of yam or more, and sweet potato and all that. Even ginger. Recently, we registered the two ginger varieties, the Umujin 1 and Umujin 2. So Umudika has done a lot to actually bring Nigeria into limelight in terms of root and tuber crop production in Africa and globally.
Besides the development of improved varieties, the institute also adds value to products from the mandate crops. This array of products developed by the institute were showcased at the exhibition. Cassava was one of such products.
Here we have cassava, orange flesh, sweet potato, chin-chin. So taking the chin-chin, you are not just taking carbohydrates, you are also taking nutrients, which is antioxidants from this. Then we can move ahead and see cake. This cake is 100% cassava cake. So this one now we're having problem with the high cost of wheat due to Russia and Ukraine challenge. We can source our raw material right where we are, which is cassava. And cassava, we are the lead in the world.
The Institute of Agricultural Research, Zaria IAR, also showcased improved seeds that are high yielding with strong economic value.
Summers 52 is a yellow maize, and the yield is up to 6 tons per hectare. And the advantage of it over the local variety is, in the local variety, you cannot get up to maybe 2 tons. We have Summers 51. So that Summers 51 is a high yielding material, white maize. It is drought tolerance and striga tolerance also. And the yield is up to 8 tons per hectare.
IAR also developed a new technology that can convert agricultural waste into products that can be used by rice millers and for other industrial purposes.
This agricultural waste, in this instance, it is from sawdust. But what I've been trying to explain is you can get any other bio-waste and crush them using this machine. When they become powdery like this, you now feed them into this after mixing with some adhesive material. Then you feed it into this machine and then you produce something like this, which after it has dried, you can now burn. But like I said, the maize cobs on their own are briquettes made from God. So you don't need to just solve your process of briquetting. All you need to do is to feed them. We have a special stuff which I've just shown you.
What is the risk assessment in terms of smoke?
Well, the smoke, to some extent, we have confined it, so you can see that unlike the open fire stove, you can see that we have confined it into this one. Number one, it will have a relatively high heat efficiency, by not allowing air to just take it away. And then even the user, unless he comes close to it, he might not inhale. Because if you are away here, the smoke is not allowed to just move around enough. It tends to go vertically. And if it is well done, it will not produce the tremendous amount of smoke. As you can see, it is now burning with little smoke.
Earlier on during the World Food Day celebration at Chida Hotels in Abuja, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development also had a tour of agricultural photo book exhibition and other agricultural companies. One of the exhibition stands the minister visited was Amo Group of Companies Nigeria Limited, a company that is into the development of poultry value chain. Amo Group of Companies developed a Nola bird which has the features of locally bred chicken.
We developed this bird purely for the rural dwellers, so that our children, people who cannot really afford a lot of money to buy the broilers and other ones, can benefit from it. It's been doing wonderfully well in the country, and there's hardly a village now you go to in Nigeria that you will not see these Noila birds.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development has supported the farm in several ways for which they are grateful.
Ministry of Agriculture is the father of all. So you cannot stay without partnering with the Ministry of Agriculture. We use maize, for example, we use maize for production of feed. We partner with the Ministry of Agriculture for maize. Sometimes you find out that some of the maize we buy outside might not be enough for us to use. Ministry of Agriculture have come to our aid several times. And when we have issues in different aspects of the poultry, where do you run to? It's the Ministry of Agriculture. And they have been of great help to us. If you recall last year, my group managing director was recognized by the Ministry of Agriculture.
The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, expressed satisfaction with the potentials of the agricultural sector and disclosed the efforts of the present administration to support agriculture.
And what I have just seen is anything from crops to poultry, even fisheries. So this is to show people that yes, the agricultural sector is waxing very vibrantly. And I have said earlier, you can't do anything without really a solid agriculture base. No country has ever really truly developed, no matter what, without first securing food. If you depend on anyone to give you food, you are in trouble as a country. So this is just to encourage people, the young people and women to come into agriculture. We have various support programs in which we assist people to go into agriculture. There's a lot of tremendous potential. The resources are endless. The best thing is that this particular administration, His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari, is very interested in agriculture and has supported the sector since 2015 to date.
This is where we call it a day on the program. Join us again, same time, same station next week. Have a great weekend and bye for now.